A wedding day, driving to the church, I hit a deer.
The guests had to, on the spot, drop money because we needed extra tables. And the venue said, "I'm not giving you tables."
A guest?
A guest.
Yeah, because I had to ask somebody. Okay, we need to do this.
By the time we could count, we had doubled.
You just
Suddenly.
called and said,
Sunshine.
"The sun is out.
Let's do it.
Get
Quick,
ready."
quick.
We just
Moved everything.
Everything had to be moved. I think we had 30 minutes to move everything from indoors all the way back out.
Outdoors.
Laura, like they were holding me because I was ready to go to blows because you can see the disappointment.
Having a good MC that can think on the spot saved the day, such that some people did not
Don't
notice.
realize.
Welcome to another episode of Inside Event Podcast.
On Inside Event today, we are going to be talking about our most challenging moments during an event, how we solved it, how we managed our mental health,
True, that's a big one.
how we just made it work.
Yes.
So
A lot to unpack. So let's get into it.
I have a few, but you can start.
Oh no. Okay. There's a lot to share, but let me just start with an experience that I had. I would call it something that I had to do with African parents. So we had a wedding where one of the parents literally started to remove table numbers because they had invited guests that were not on the list. And so it was almost like, if my guests can't come in, then this is not happening. And that's not fun. That's something that I believe, educating our parents in terms of understanding that the wedding is, I understand that weddings are also about family. Parents are also a part of it. Sometimes they're even paying for the wedding, but it's important for us to know that it's not a competition. It's not a me versus my children. We're all together in this. So your planner is working for you. So you can't be working against your planner. Because if you work against your planner or your children's plans, you're more or less working against yourself. So if we've agreed that it's going to be 200 guests and the couple have said, Mommy, you have 50, Daddy, you have 50, we have 100. Let's try to respect that. Yeah. In the event that you realize that your 100 is now 120, it's important you let us know because we may be able to still increase the guest count, right? We may still be able to make arrangements for those extra 20 guests. But on the day of, literally messing up the whole plan, just because you want to have your way, I find that quite that's not working in sync, and it's disrespectful as well, not to just your couple, your children, but also to the entire team and the vendor. So for me, that's one of the experiences that I would say was not pleasant.
So how were you able to resolve that?
Yeah.
So the team actually had to, believe it or not, because again, it was most of the weddings that we plan are very formal weddings, which means every seat is assigned.
Yeah.
So in that case, we actually had to come up with a extra table on the spot. Also, some guests. Oh, that's another topic. Guests that don't show up. But at this wedding, there were guests that didn't show up.
Oh, okay.
So we had to fill the empty seats and also on the spot create a table. And of course, a lot of dialogue trying to explain to the parents why what they were doing was actually harming. Because it got to a point we had to stop everything because it got a little rowdy. Because there was a pregnant woman who couldn't sit down because somebody had taken her seat. So a lot went behind the scenes, but we kind of had to resolve it. Yeah.
Just to piggyback on what you said, I think I remember a wedding that, of course, it was the parents who invited more people than the space could take. And all of a sudden, they came to meet me and they said, I did not provide a seating chart. Apparently, the seating chart was thrown underneath the table because there were too many guests, and it was actually the father of the bride that picked it up and threw it under the table.
So more like if there's no sitting chart, there's no plan.
So it was
free sitting
for everybody. I think at the end of that event, we actually rolled in about 3 tables to that wedding, and no centerpieces, nothing, just 3 tablecloth on it. But I mean, at the end of the day, all the guests sat, and
Can you talk about who paid for those extra? Because was it free?
It wasn't free. It wasn't free, and there was a lot of back and forth between the hall because here in Canada, venues charge per head. So if you're rolling in that's like 30 extra guests that had to be accounted for, and the money had to be dropped
right there
and then during the wedding. But we were able to figure it out. A lot of back and forth between the parents, the venue, and at the end of the day, it solved itself. But
that reminds me of one event as well, still on guests, where a guest had to on the spot drop money because we needed extra tables, and the venue said, "I'm not giving you tables." And
Yes,
because I had to ask somebody, okay, we need to do this, we need to pay this. So really, it was a family member, not really like a guest. The family had to drop money on the spot. So again, let's just be respectful. And
I had to. One was I should say a fulfilled. Like, when you have those worst case scenarios that, today's an event day, what could happen? I have two scenarios. One, wedding day, driving to the church, I hit a deer.
Oh, boy.
Oh no.
Seriously?
I hit a deer. And I'm like, and I'm supposed to be at the church in an hour. And I said, I hit the deer walked away. And I said to myself, can the car still run?
Yeah.
If it's running,
you gotta go.
And that's what I did. So that night, that recurring nightmare, that was one. The second one was, we set up for 300 people. Beautiful setup. When I say beautiful, beautiful. Then I went to the kitchen and I said, why is there so much food for 300 people? Because when you have 300 people, why there's so much food. It's like, this doesn't, and the mom took care of the food.
Oh.
Something was telling me something was going to happen. Do you know? When you at an event and you just sit down and say, let everything just go haywire. 300 people sit. The next thing I see another 10 people, another 20 people, another 40 people, another 60 people. By the time we could count, we had doubled.
Doubled. Oh yeah.
This is the first time ever at an event that I had to curse out a guest. Somebody that knew me said, Laura, like they were holding me because I was ready to go to blows because you can see the disappointment. I've never seen where charger plates are being used as plates.
Oh,
that is a nightmare.
Venue said I'm gonna shut down. I've never begged a venue, please do not shut us down.
They will shut. This is Canada.
Guests going into their storage unit, getting tables and chairs.
No, that's wrong. That is so
all I could do was just sit down and say, let the chaos just continue.
And there's no
because there's nothing. When I saw the food.
No, what I mean is, did the couple? So I've had a situation where the bride actually gave me a heads up to say, this is what I think might happen. Okay. So there was a backup, but not like double.
She did not know. We just found out later that the mom invited everybody and anybody.
Wow.
But from the ceremony, when the mom showed up a little bit late, I had a feeling that
something might be.
But when I saw the food, my senses were saying something was going to happen.
At least, African moms don't play with their food. At least she made sure that there was
enough food. They
may not have seats, but they have food.
But still, because I literally had to tell the bride and groom, I told the groom that please take your bride away and just console her.
That's another thing.
Because all the pictures just showed the sadness. Like, how can you have, like, the sisters to sister weddings by sisters was doing this on the table, holding the plates. You can't take plates.
Yeah.
Because they were just
and the guests who have been invited, you can't really blame them because they don't know, right? They're just invited and they show up, especially if there is the Ashebi, the family, and they're all there in the colors. So you can't really, in a way, blame them, for showing up.
Yeah,
because they were invited. So it's the parents, really.
True,
in this
true,
case.
true, true.
Okay.
Weather. How do we handle weather? I'm sure, both of you as planners, the plan B comes out. So this is an outdoor ceremony and it decides to rain. Or there's a snowstorm.
Oh. I've had both. I've had both scenarios. Okay, so here's the thing, my darling couples to be. You must always have a plan B if you're going to be having a ceremony or reception outdoors. There's no ifs or buts about it. There has to be. Every professional planner should know that. Also, if you're new in the industry, Here in Canada, you have to have a plan B.
Yeah.
Now, if you're having your ceremony outside, this is Canada, anything can happen. The weather changes anytime. So we've had snowstorm, we've had rain. I think there was one, I think I was vlogging, it happened in Quebec, and the rain just started. Of course there's a plan B. So for me, honestly, it's a no-brainer. If you love this forested venue, oh my god, I want to get married in the forest with the wooden chairs and the this and the bears and the tigers in the background, beautiful. However, if there's no plan B in that forest, forget it. I cannot endorse that.
Well, forest doesn't have plan B.
And that's why I said we have to have plan B.
But if there's no opportunity for plan B, so what is the plan B?
So why am I going to bring 150 people into the forest and then it starts torrential rainpour? That's it. So again, there are actually beautiful venues. There's one, what's it called? Curated. This is not a paid advert, but there's Curated. So it's forested and there's a plan B there. They have a glass house.
Yes.
So again, if you hire the right people, the professionals,
And
they will tell you, okay, you want this forested venue. Let's use this venue that has a plan B, that has this. But what?
Or a venue that actually talks about a plan B, because when a venue talks about a plan B, you know that they are preparing and they would outline what that plan B looks like. Because yes, outdoor weddings are amazing.
They are.
There was one. I assisted for that one. As soon as it started to rain, little drizzle, it stopped. Everybody moved to the ceremony. Sunny. Then as soon as the cocktail finished, because the cocktail was outside as well, it started to rain, and the whole chopa just
came down. Oh my.
Okay, I said okay. We're good. Everybody got into the tent. They had, you know how the tent, they always gather there. So we had to quickly undo sides, unhook sides. Then the next thing, the backdrop dropped.
Oh boy.
I honestly, I just had to start praying because this was too much.
Sometimes you're like,
twice,
this is not normal.
Twice for something to come down right up. Literally, the couple just moved away and it came tumbling. Down. And it's like, you do have to think about, yes, as you said, that plan B.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying sometimes when because there was nowhere to put a plan B. Everything was in that space. And I can't move anybody. There's nowhere to move them to.
How did you fix this particular situation?
We used a lot of brooms to sweep the water, and the wait staff. Lord, thank you for them. Still went through the rain because you know how you have to have the kitchen separately, and just served and did what we can do.
Yeah. I remember one wedding we actually walked together. It was Niagara. Because I remember that we had to set up the ceremony indoors upstairs.
That's right.
Because the actual mood board was outside, and then they were calling for rain. And we went upstairs to set up. We were done.
We were ready for both.
We were ready. And then you just called and said,
sunshine.
The sun is out. Get ready.
Quick.
I had staff with me. We just
moved
everything had to be moved. I think we had 30 minutes to move everything from indoors all the way back outside.
Did you have to go back indoors after?
No.
Oh.
The sun came out.
The sun came out.
So I mean, for things like that, we just have to be proactive and be ready for anything.
And have a venue that will work with you. Because that's the reason I was asking, did you go back in? Because again, this bride wanted it outdoors.
Okay.
So we did outside, inside, outside, inside. And then we said, you know what? You want outside? Outside, forget it. Umbrellas, we're done.
Okay.
So, but to make it happen was having the venue help.
Yeah.
And not them get irritated or angry because they really knew that and one of the reasons why she chose that location was because of the space outdoors.
Okay.
If she had that, if everything else didn't work out, she had that ceremony outside.
Another thing I'm curious to ask you both, because you guys are the planners in the group, is late deliveries. So you have vendors who
oh boy,
running late. Like, how do you
I will see juice again.
Handle this? How do you schedule this into your thing? Do you give them, 30 minutes? You actually need them
time.
For one. You give them a buffer time.
Yes.
Like, how do you plan this stuff?
So for those watching this podcast, all three of us are African Canadians. This is not anything against Africans. However, I find that when I do my multicultural weddings, 90% of the time, I don't really need to worry a lot when it comes to timing with my Caucasian vendors. But when it comes to like African time or island time or Caribbean time, I don't know what our ancestors did to us, you know? So for us, it's important to put buffer time in there. If something really is going to, and I'm trying not to look to my right, but if something starts at 1, you know, you've got to put buffer. I'm not going to tell you how much buffer time I put in there.
Yeah.
This also has to even do with guests.
Guests
it's not just
too.
vendors.
Yes, that's
you know,
true.
It's not fair that you've been invited to a wedding and you've been told that ceremony starts at 2 and then you're just waltzing in at 3 o'clock. And then when we tell you, sorry, the procession is already going on, you have to stay outside, you get upset, right? Or the reception starts at 6 and then you're coming in at 8 o'clock when the second course has been served, and then you're like, I missed the first. No, the kitchen, I'm sorry, the kitchen is closed. Go and prep salad for just 2 people that just walked in when they're just, you know, already trying to do the main course. But back to vendors, I've actually had an event. So another thing is with time, and again, this is a different topic, but people say, why do you keep using the same vendors? Or, why do you have preferences? Truth is, as planners, you get comfortable with people who actually deliver. You fall in love with vendors who actually know their worth and give you less stress.
Yeah.
So I was working a wedding and the bride said, I want my friend to do the cake. And I'm like, your friend? Okay. I said, all right, we'll do it. I did everything I had to do, sent the timeline, the address, every detail. Wedding is starting in an hour. My assistant is calling me, saying the cake is not here.
Okay.
Room reveal is about to start. The cake is not here. The cake arrived literally when they were about to dance in for the grand entrance. So I'm telling you, and that's just one of many episodes. And that's why, again, I'm not saying we don't, but would rather not work with friends and family vendors that are not professional vendors, if that makes sense.
Because would you consider those part of those challenges?
Oh yes.
Because to me, I mean, for something like that, and if the friend also wants to be in the business, it will not work.
No,
it will not work. And to add to that, when I always like asking clients, what are your vendors that you would like us to use? If it's somebody I haven't worked with before, I have a meeting with them to say, look, this is how I operate, this is how I work. If you feel that it's going to be too much pressure, let me know. Let's figure out a good compromise before we even continue, because I like to get those out right away. So it's a catch-22 where you just have to, what's the word? Like, you already have a set and you want to make sure that everything still goes well, because as soon as something derails, it derails
everything.
Everything else.
Everything else. It derails everything else. So therefore, we just have to pray internally. I don't lose my mind.
One of the vendor categories that I am always like, fingers crossed, and I'm worried when I've never worked with that vendor before, is makeup, hair and makeup. For me, when it comes to vendors, new vendors I haven't worked with before, believe it or not, I have my fingers crossed when it comes to hair and makeup. And my reason is this: I've had situations where the makeup artist doesn't arrive on time. As you know, it starts the day, and then if you don't keep to the timeline, everything is a snowball effect. Everybody is late because the makeup artist arrived an hour late. Yeah. Right? Another thing is, I've had a makeup artist call in sick the day of the wedding. Yes, the day of the wedding. Like literally the morning off. And I had to start to, troubleshoot and find. So I just find that, and I've had makeup artists who are not feeling too well, but they show up. Yeah. Because, the relationship, and they just value their craft that much. So for me, again, nothing against, our dear beauty pros, but when it comes to makeup and hair, you start the day. You have to understand, nobody sees you, but you are very important. And I think to the entire day.
Maybe that's what they don't understand, is like they set the tone of the day for us. Yeah. Because a lot of times you are there already before, because example, we're not going to be in the room at 4 a.m. in the morning. So you're already there. All we can do is, you designate somebody, did the makeup artist show up? When the makeup artist knows she showed up on time, it sets the tone for us as planners that, everything is on track. So maybe they just don't understand that they truly, even though we don't see them, they truly set the tone of the day for us to be able to execute the day. So at the same time, it's education. Yeah. And letting them know.
So I think another challenge that I've seen in my time doing events is when the DJ and the band, I don't know how it happens, plug into the same outlet or something, and power goes off. Maybe during dance or something. I mean, something like this, it's really beyond our control, but having a good MC that can think on the spot and get people doing stuff. I think you were at that event that something like that happened, saved the day, such that some people did not notice. They didn't even realize that we had no power for like 5 minutes before they put the thing back on. So it's important that we need to be able to think on the spot, and you know, things will definitely happen. Even as a decorator, not my event, but I've heard that sometimes things just happen, like maybe somebody at your setup crew did not show up, so you're short and you're running out of time. I've seen planners jump in to help the decorators. Like it now becomes all hands on deck because you need to finish, because the couple or they want to do a room reveal. But we should always, as vendors, give each other grace. You know, I want to really implore us that it's very important to give each other grace, and then always put each other in the other person's shoes. Like if I say I'm sick, am I sick such that if I don't go, the event will go well? These are things we have to think about. Think about the other person and try as much as possible to show up. And if you cannot show up, there's nothing wrong calling and being like, oh, I cannot show up, but I've called this person to cover up. And this all boils down to my favorite word, collaboration. When we're friends with each other, we can always back up each other. My storage is flooded or my centerpieces are broken. I can call a friend who's a vendor. You have 10 of these centerpieces that I have. Can I borrow from you? Because mine is broken or my storage flooded. If you're planners and your friends, a planner is sick, you can call. And she and she had to drive her car. Let's picture a scenario: her car is not moving. And she's stuck there. Who jumps in? So it all boils down at the end of the day, having a plan B, collaborating, having friends in the industry who will always have your back
and step in. I mean, like I remember there's an event I did, and the napkins that we needed were not the right color. I
remember.
I literally called Decor to say, do you have this color? And she just...
I think we Ubered
it over. Things that's where you talk about the collaboration. But at the same time, how do we deal with those challenges to create that positive narrative? Like, example, do we go back to that makeup artist that, look, you being late did not set the right tone. As your craft, you need to make sure that you are on time, because it's very important, especially when makeup takes 4+ hours. I'm exaggerating, but it feels like 4 hours in my mind. But that you need to, do we go back and do that feedback? Do we go back and say, honestly, I may not want to use you because of this, but if this is something you can work on, I would love to work with you. Because the way you get to know new planners is by seeing them in their element. Sorry, not new planners, my mistake. New vendors is seen in their element. Because sometimes you just want to switch the script for a client. Because I always believe that not all vendors are for every client, and not all clients for every vendors. So how do you just let them know that it's not a good look? I've had situations where I've told band members that it doesn't work. I've told somebody, you can pack up and go home, and I'll pay the fee. Because again, you're thinking, you as a planner, I'm just talking from a planner's perspective, you're thinking about the whole picture. You are just one element of the whole picture. So when I have 7 elements that I'm looking at, I need to make sure they all work together.
Yep.
And I think sometimes they forget that's our job.
We're the project managers, and the project is that event or that wedding.
Yes.
So really, it fall on us, but really, we're controlling multiple moving parts.
Yes.
Talking about live band and DJ, I want to say that's actually another, I would say, challenging experience. Again, it's getting better in our industry, but there was a time, I don't know what it is between DJ live band. There's that they are usually at loggerheads. Oh no, I'm still playing. It's a time for the DJ to play. The live band refuses to let go. I think we even had an event recently where you both were guests, and the live band just was so disrespectful and just refused to stop playing. So again,
how do we make that
how
do we make it a positive experience for next time?
Yes.
Because they're not going to go away. Live bands are not going to. They're here to stay, and the more the community, we're using that cultural base. The more it gets bigger, the more people are going to show up. So how do we, as planners, make that a positive experience for next time? Because everybody likes who they like.
That's true, but then again, it boils down to education and also personality. I think because the most I can do is ask you, right, and tell you the expectations, the rules and regulations before the day. On the day off, I know some people might have turned off the mic, but I'm not literally gonna go get the mic, like grab the mic from the lead singer, So it really boils down to the lead singer or the company you're hiring to be respectful of everyone, because we're all a team here. It's nobody's show, right? You want to say something? I can see it in your eyes.
There's another challenging aspect. It's it has to do with bands again. I don't know if it's gonna.
Just say it. Just say inside events.
When you have the band, I paid you.
Yeah.
And then you are starting to call A, B, C, and D.
Oh, and the party turns to Mr. A and Mr. B.
It is like a pet peeve for me because I think about it as like, I hired you for my
party,
and why are you calling others?
Why are you hyping up a guest because?
And I hope I don't get in trouble for this.
It's okay,
but it's a challenge that for me it's like a internal pet peeve.
So
that I struggle with.
How do we fix this?
Yes.
So I know that we've called out quite a few vendors, but at the end of the day, let's try and reel everything back in. Vendor relationships.
Yeah.
It's very important, and I think it's going to help solve some of these issues. Over education. You're the planners. Keep educating us vendors. Like, talk to us. Over communicate the timelines. These are the expectations. Nike, as a decorator, I want you to be there at 12. By this time, I want you done. I want you out of the venue. Like, over communicate, give us buffer time, those kind of things. I think those are the things that we need to stress the more, so that things like this can,
get better. And when you communicate, it's important as well for each vendor. You're not, when you talk about professionalism, it's not just about being able to do beautiful decor. You have to understand how many people do you need on staff to execute that look in that time frame that you've been given. So again, I agree, a lot of education, but the more we all come together and actually get better at what we do, I think the easier it will be for the entire industry.
True.
So in retrospect, it all boils down to, again, the core word of having this, is the collaboration.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's an element of feedback, because I want you to take the feedback the same way I want you to give me feedback, and take it and say, okay, this is good, because I want you to have more business.
So I would say it's how you deliver the feedback. Constructive. We're here to build each other up, not tear each other down.
That's right.
If we cannot have that at the back of our mind when we're providing the feedback, I think it would be taken well.
Okay.
And then on the part of the client, to avoid all this, I guess they don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
But they're not supposed to.
They're not supposed
That's
to.
Why you're here.
The thing is, hire professionals for every aspect of your event, because they would definitely have their plan B in place. They would, put the plans in place, and you will notice when things are cracking.
Yeah, and I think another thing is that when they've worked with a variety of different vendors, they have an idea what the possibilities of hiccups that may or may not happen and have an
They're
idea
ready
how
for it.
to rectify it or get in front of it.
Before it even
Before it
happens.
happens,
Because
yes.
you can plan all you want, but you do always have those one or two hiccups, and you just need to understand that not everybody can plan, but at the same time, a experienced planner can really anticipate all these challenges. Like,
Are you doing
I'll-
clocking?
I am clocking it.
I'll give an example. When that deer thing happened, I said to myself, if my car is not working, I know A and B who I needed to call.
Okay.
Or who I needed to also get involved to say, look, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Can you shift and go and deal with A if I'm not there in time? But that was not the case.
Okay.
So I guess, I mean, with what we do, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a birthday celebration, whether it's a corporate event, any event, there's always those aspects where there are going to be challenges.
Yes.
One thing that I find sometimes can be a challenge too is when you get to a venue. As a planner, you should always respect the space.
Yeah.
Because they understand the space and they can make it as easy as possible and they can make it as hard as possible. But you always have to respect the space that you're working within as a planner, because you help the other vendors for the setup.
Yes.
So I'm going to say let's pause on that, because that is going to lead us into our next topic. The venue said what?
Okay.
So the space.
Yes.
We're going
The
to talk
venue.
more about
We're going to
that.
talk about that more in our next episode.
I gotta say, this episode has been on fire. There's some residual traumas. I call it event traumas. So I'm offering informal counseling.
I will sign up.
Thank you. So please, people need to like, comment,
And share.
and even subscribe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Subscribe.
See you at the next episode.